We're on camera right now, so say hello. Okay.
Hello.
Yep. They got some good mustaches, don't they? So we have a philosophy on this ship called the way of the warrior sailor. It argues that in order to create morale, and morale leads to success, by the way, whether that success be in inspections or in combat, you must, number one, you must love and value everybody. You have to demonstrate that. You cannot be afraid to use the term love in this context, right? And it's not a term we normally use in the military, but it's a term that is required for all human beings. We all need to be loved and valued. FSO, I want you to wave to the camera here. All right. This is the woman that helps run the entire operation of the food. 15 to 17,000 meals per day, which is amazing. If I'm gonna have you on this ship for a 9-month deployment like we had recently, I gotta provide some love and value to those sailors. That's number one. Number two is to give people mission and purpose. Everyone must understand what the mission is. It must be very simple. For us, it was to launch and recover aircraft to defeat bad guys. That's it. Right, we talked about it all the time. Now the question is, mission and purpose, what is your purpose in that mission? So we talk about that. So everyone should feel like they're contributing to the overall mission. If you allow your people to grow and be the best versions of themselves, what could go wrong, right? In terms of combat or inspections or just how we treat people day to day. All right, so this is the coffee shop. I don't know what this is, but Shmee hats for sale in the Ike Mall. Show your pride for the best damn ship. To me, leadership is the art of getting people to do things they otherwise would not do. It's about motivating people. I think that the operative term here is morale. Now that's a term that's been completely overused and misunderstood. Morale is not happiness, although happiness does help. Morale is more like motivation, grit, pride, spirit. The civilian equivalent would be job satisfaction. You want people to enjoy what they do. So the question is, how do you create morale? Chief, what did you order just now?
JP6.
JP6. What is that?
6 shots of espresso.
6 shots of espresso. So the other part of the way of the warrior sailor is you have to take action against those that are opposing the philosophy, right? So people need to be held accountable. So if someone's being toxic, and toxicity is, it's a literal term, right? When you're a toxic leader, you affect people both mentally and physically in some ways. We've all seen it before. If, for example, you don't want to go to work one day, you show up into the parking lot and you've got a pit in your stomach and you don't want to be there, that's an example of bad morale. Something's going wrong in that chain of command, right? So one of the challenges of an executive leader is to find those pockets of resistance and do something about it, whether you just counsel them and say, hey, let's not do this and here's why, or you remove them from their position, or you hold them accountable legally, right? There's different ways to do it. We had to do all these things to make sure that, whenever we found that a little bit of toxicity, whether it's a small amount or a lot, we had to do something about it. Good morning. You have to be willing to bet your life on Generation Z in this present situation. And I have done that many times. I do not believe in any big generational differences other than music. Our music is much better than theirs, right? But other than that, the human brain has not changed in 100,000 years. Chemically, it's the same, right? So leadership shouldn't change either. You have to set those things aside. Generational biases affect teams. In our teams in the military, all militaries, it's teams of multiple ages. So you should be working with 19-year-olds as well as 50-year-olds. Everyone's getting treated fairly and equally. And respect goes up and down the chain, right?
Can I ask you about the Red Sea? It was a pretty long tour you did, deployment there, and very busy. Just what that experience was like for yourselves.
It was 6 months of action pretty much every single day in the Red Sea. There was a lot going on. We were operating in a weapons engagement zone the entire time, constantly moving the ship, constantly fighting. We said we did multiple strikes into Western Yemen to degrade their capability. We countered their attacks against us. At the end of the day, our job was to really save civilian mariner lives, and we did that. All right, we're here with the camera at the ship's store. Like most people at our age, we're not comfortable highlighting ourselves on social media. Back in the day, we tried to avoid social media entirely for security purposes. But I met with my public affairs officer early on in the deployment when we had Wi-Fi capability. It was limited, but it was enough to do kind of a low bandwidth social media. And I decided I was going to talk about the way of the warrior sailor. It morphed from that to something else. I ended up putting out a few pictures with sailors on it, and then the family members found out, and so they started flocking to my social media feeds, and they wanted to see more. So they started asking me for more. Hey, I want to see a picture of my son. I want to see a picture of my daughter. Can you do that for me, sir? And I said, okay. And so it allowed us to build like the larger, ship external support network, the bigger family, and to bring them in. So I was talking to hundreds of family members whenever I could. How many cookies did these guys make over deployment? 54,000. Okay. So
Tell me about the cookie thing, just finally, because it's a very American thing to us.
So it'd be, if you're going to invite someone to your office, you offer them a drink or a biscuit or something. For me, we had cookies, and I just thought it was a nice thing to do. But because all the social media pictures had someone eating a cookie, it became like the cookie post. And I think people just thought that was interesting.
Is there interest elsewhere in the Navy about your leadership style and your social media presence? Is there an evolution underway, do you think?
I would like to believe so, but I don't know. I know that the U.S. Army has thrown out my philosophy, or given the philosophy to some of their students at Leavenworth, Kansas, at the Army War College. I've gotten a lot of interest from civilians, but I don't know. And again, I don't think it's super innovative. I'm just saying, we need to love and value people. Maybe it's the term love that's innovative. We need to take those kind of social risks, I think, to get the point across that we don't need to be overly compassionate. We don't have to be overly tough. We need a combination of both. We still have to maintain standards, but we can also love people at the same time. Understanding that you could be both at the same time, I think, is the key to success. But again, this is something known throughout history. I'm just trying to bring it back, right? And I'm not saying we lost our way either, but I have been in commands, as everyone else has been, where we did lose our way, and it wasn't like that. Maybe it was too tough and less compassion, but we need to have both.
Thanks for watching. For more from BFBS Forces News, like and subscribe to our channel.